There's something amazing about turning raw, recovered gold into a 3/9 plus pure gold bar. Today I'll show you exactly how I transform powder and buttons from previous refines into a brilliant, high purity bar, a process that reveals the true beauty of gold. Let's begin. After refining scrap into gold powder and buttons over the last few months, I'm now taking this material to true high purity. The gold already looks good, but 999 purity brings out a glow and richness you simply can't imitate. The buttons and powder weigh 60.35 grams, and I got this 2.4 gram impure button, bringing us to just over 2 troy ounces. I'm going to process the impure button separately from the main batch. Put it in its own beaker, add some hydrochloric acid, and put it up on the heat. Then put the rest of it into a bigger beaker. I'll add 250 milliliters of hydrochloric acid to this batch, and then put it up on the heat as well. To both batches, I'll add some sulfuric acid to drop any lead out of solution. And then add nitric acid to form Aqua Regia, which will dissolve the gold. As I go through this process, we're going to do multiple refining and precipitation steps, each time removing small impurities from the gold. This gold dissolves into a rich red solution, always a great sign. And as clear as this solution looks, it's hiding impurities. As it cools and dilutes, it's probably going to get cloudy, likely silver chloride. It doesn't take much to pollute the solution. Because of that, we're going to go ahead and filter it and probably run it through the filter several times until we get a truly clear solution. As it's coming through the first time, I can already see the cloudiness starting. Finally, this solution is clear. See all the junk we just pulled out of it. Go ahead and transfer this to a beaker. We'll set it aside and let it wait while we focus on that ugly little button next. So just looking at this, I'm glad I processed it separately. There's a lot of stuff in there. Hopefully some gold. A little bit of that button still left in there, could not get it to go into solution. But before I start working on that solution, I'm going to prep our first precipitation method, which is going to be ferrous sulfate, iron sulfate. It takes a little prep time. You need to get it dissolved and filtered so that it's ready to go when we are. So now to this ugly solution. We're going to go ahead and filter things back through this same filter. All that junk from the first stuff will hopefully make this go faster. But before I start, probably should test, make sure there's actually gold in here. So a little bit of stannous chloride, and that is a pretty strong positive. So we do have gold in there. So let's get this cleared up. Just a few times through the filter, but we now have a nice clear solution. You can see there's what looks like some silver chloride in that filter. So we're going to put this into a beaker, and we're going to precipitate this with SMB, clean it up, and re-dissolve it so it catches up in purity to what's already in our other beaker. As always, a test to make sure we have all the gold out of solution, and we do. So we're going to let that settle. I'm going to go ahead and decant off the solution here. I'm not going to show the wash process. There's enough washing in this video already, but we're going to go ahead and add hydrochloric acid, form Aqua Regia, and go ahead and redissolve the gold. A quick gravity filtration. Bulk of the gold is washed through the filter. It's a very clear solution. I'm going to go ahead and combine these in preparation for our next refining step. Looking at that nice bright clear solution, as we're getting close to a nice stunning high purity bar. For our first gold precipitation, I'm going to use ferrous sulfate. This creates more waste solution than normal SMB drop, but is very selective, precipitating only the gold. I'll go ahead and start by adding a liter of ferrous sulfate into our gold solution. Before I add any more, I'm going to do a quick stannous chloride test. It's hard to see on the screen, but there is a slight purple color, so we're going to add a little bit more ferrous sulfate. A second stannous chloride test. This time we have no change at all. All of our gold is out of solution. So you can see our gold is settled in the bottom, forming a nice thick layer of rich gold powder. I'm going to decant off this solution and go ahead and clean this gold up. To clean this gold powder, first we're going to start by getting the ferrous sulfate solution out of the gold powder. We're going to do this with distilled water rinses and then hydrochloric acid rinses, which will continue until the HCl is clear. You'll notice with this hydrochloric rinse, first one, that even though our water is running clear, we're now pulling color out of the powder. So we'll continue these until we're ready to move on. Ferrous sulfate waste also looks like there might be gold in solution. Quick stannous test was going to show us that there just isn't. Finish the wash, we're going to do a hydrochloric acid boil. This has been boiling for about 10 minutes. I'm going to decant it off. You can already see that lighter color indicating higher purity of our gold powder. We're going to do several washes with boiling distilled water to get the acid out, and then we're going to move on to our final purification steps. After rinsing, I'm going to add some hydrochloric acid. We're going to put this on the heat, and we're going to redissolve this powder into Aqua Regia by again adding nitric acid, about 30 milliliters, and a little bit of sulfuric acid to drop any remaining lead. This solution is extremely clear. Great sign. I'm going to filter it one more time. This time I'm going to use a funnel. And you'll see here it looks really clean. I use this funnel only for these high purity final filters. Be sure not to add any junk back into our what is probably by now extremely pure gold. This time, the filter is mostly empty. There is a little bit of stuff you can see there though, which means this was worth the effort. And our solution is still completely crystal clear. Go ahead and put this into a beaker. Again, one I save only for these high purity final runs to avoid contaminating the gold. That is some pretty looking solution. Time for our final drop. This time we're going to go ahead and use SMB, sodium metabisulfite. Going to add it into the solution, and we can see instantaneously the gold is coming out of solution. Right, we'll do a stannous chloride test, see where we're at. And we definitely have a fair amount of goldstone solution. A couple more spoonfuls. We'll test one more time. This time the stannous test is clear. All our gold is out of solution. That powder is looking great. Wait till it becomes a bar. So we're going to go ahead and decant this solution off and wash our gold powder before drying it. Once decanted, we're going to do several distilled water washes. Then we're going to follow that with a hydrochloric acid boil. All right, again, been boiling for about 10 minutes. Going to decant off the acid, and again, do several more boiling distilled water washes. Powder is washed. I'm going to transfer it to a drying dish. This one, again, I only use for high purity refining. And going to remove as much of the excess liquid from the powder as I can without losing the powder. Then I'm going to go ahead and set this up on the heat in a water bath so that it dries slowly and doesn't take the chance of it exploding all over the inside of my hood. So there it is, our nice, crisp, bright powder ready to melt into a gold bar. For melting, I'm going to transfer the powder to a clean melt dish, put the torch on it, and once melted, pour it into the graphite mold. All right, here we go. I'll dump the bar in water to quench it, and there it is, one beautiful shiny gold bar. Here's our bar. We started with 62.7 grams of material. That included that impure button. We ended up with 61.05 grams, which is going to end up being 1.96 troy ounces, just a little short of 2 full troy ounces. The final bar looks incredible, exactly what you expect from 3/9 plus purity. It just looks great, and it's almost impossible to describe just how substantial it feels when you hold it. It's like nothing else. So that'll wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this transformation, please like and subscribe. Check out my other refining videos, and absolutely share your questions, experience, and feedback in the comments.